I can't remember what president said this. It was something about democracy spreading throughout the Middle East, that it would become desirable if there was a democratic nation, or a nation, I don't want to use the word democratic nation, nation that allowed the democratic process. Oh, who was that president? Bush. It was Bush, right? I don't remember his exact quote, but I do remember him speaking about a reverse domino effect. That unlike the spread of communism, when people saw other like peoples having the right to vote and acquire private property and engage in trade, they would want it for themselves. And now you're seeing it starting to happen. You're starting to see Egypt saying, we want what Iraq has. We're sick and tired of living like this. And again, what is it I'm always saying on this program? It's technology. Egyptians saw what happened in Iran. They can see what happens in Iraq. The repressive regimes of the world can't hold back what technology is bringing to the people. One day, North Korea isn't going to be able to hold its people inside of a coop anymore. Some way, somehow, technology is going to find its way into North Korea the way Beatles albums and Levi's jeans made their way into the Soviet Union. People yearn for freedom. They yearn for individual rights, and yet, you know what's funny? Is we're going in the opposite direction here, and we have for quite some time. We are centralizing power. We are centralizing authority. Government is making more decisions in our lives each and every day. They're telling us we have to buy this. We can't have that. The government is picking which companies we can do business with and which companies we can't. You know what's, and I have a whole bunch of stuff on Social Security again today. You know what's really funny about the American liberal is the root word of liberal. The concept of a liberal believing in liberty is no more. When you think of the framers of the Constitution, when you think of the men who had this New World Enlightenment, this idea, the line that Obama stole from Thatcher, they were liberals. They believed in liberty. Where do you see liberals today believing in liberty? You want to hear something crazy? Wrap your head around this with Social Security. We have 309 million people in this country, all with different lives, different lifestyles, different choices to make, different levels of income, different responsibilities in employment and in family. And instead of realizing that life is like a fingerprint or a snowflake, we have a one-size-fits-all federally mandated retirement program that doesn't work for anyone. It's a failing idea. And it's going to get worse. And I don't think the people who have faith in Social Security have any idea how bad it's going to get. And they don't care. They simply don't care. All they know is what's inside the box of big government. And when big government fails, instead of realizing the failure is due to big government, they want the government to get bigger. They want it to be more inescapable. They want it to have more control. When was the last time you heard anybody in the public sector say this failed? Every single failure of the private sector is due to two things, according to a so-called liberal. The government wasn't powerful enough and it didn't have enough money. Yet, they never tell you how much power they actually need and how much resources they actually need. Because no matter how much power and resources, it's still never enough. You can give these people everything and they still couldn't make it work. Do you want to know why? For all this talk of Reagan having Alzheimer's in his second term, I would rather have Reagan with Alzheimer's running the show than the most sober leftist socialist. I would rather have a leader who understands the limits of his intellect and trusts the people and errs on the side of liberty and the Constitution than an arrogant leader whose only excuse for his failures is, I didn't have enough power and I didn't have enough resources. You know what's fascinating about these people? They actually believe that government can make healthcare more affordable. The only people government can make a product or service more affordable to are the people who are being subsidized. The people who are subsidizing have to pay more for the exact same service. If you look at the government can't actually make anything more affordable except to take less from the industries that provide that product and service. And no matter how many examples, how much proof, the so-called smartest people in the room will still say, no, government can do it. Government can do it. We just need another bureaucracy. We just need more regulatory authority. We just need more resources and we can get it done. No, you can't. And the worst part is they don't even want to debate this. They don't want to talk to a Paul Ryan or an Andrew Wilkow. They don't want to talk about it at all. They keep saying that conservatives have old ideas. No, they don't. They have classical ideas. They are classics. They are timeless. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. And no matter how well read the conservative in question is, you can cite Bastiat, you can cite Smith, you could cite Locke, you could cite the framers, you could cite Ayn Rand, you could cite Milton Friedman, you could cite anything you want to cite, and no matter what it is, if these people are totally unread, they still think they're smarter than you. No matter what you do. How can government make a product or service more affordable without changing supply? Without some, what's the engineering? Is delta? Delta is change. If you were to lay out any of these things into an algebraic equation, if there's no delta, if there's no change in supply, how do you decrease the cost? Again, it comes down to the philosophy of if we need more supply, how do we get more supply? Versus if we have more demand, how do we redistribute current supply? Here's something fascinating. If the American taxpayer has to pay into a system to subsidize healthcare to make it more affordable, how is the person paying the subsidy getting a good deal? If you're looking at healthcare and the government arbitrarily says healthcare needs to become 20% less expensive to make it more affordable to everyone. Well, if person A is the person being subsidized by person B, where does that 20% discount come from? It comes from person B paying 20% more. You aren't making the price go down. You're just supposedly alleviating the real price from being paid by those who supposedly can't afford it. Somebody has to pay more. Adrian Rogers was right. The government cannot give something to someone that it is not first taken from somebody else. It can't be done. No matter how hard you try. And the funny thing is, the people that call themselves intellectuals on the left offer the most unintellectual ideas. They're still convinced that if the right people are involved, they can make 89 cents into $1. No, you can't. You still need 11 cents. It can't be done. And I don't care what university you attended. It doesn't matter how much ivy is crawling up the walls, how much dust is on the shelves of the library, how much oak and mahogany surrounds the office from which the ideas emanate. They're all wrong. You can't look at a people and say, you have individual rights and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but we're going to corral all of you into this one-size-fits-all, centrally planned, centrally managed retirement program or healthcare system or any system for that matter. It can't be done. Cannot. And the worst part about Social Security, is they raided it with no plan to replenish it, which proves the point again. It is a Ponzi scheme. If your retirement is predicated on a worker younger than you paying into the system, that's a Ponzi scheme. The federal government might as well start selling Amway at that point. When you put your money in the bank, it's your money. Your bank account isn't predicated on the branch that you put your money into and withdraw from having somebody else put their money in so you can take yours out. That's what an account is. I am out of steam when it comes to dealing with this. Because all the snark of a Rachel Maddow or all of the platitudes of a Barack Obama, all of these people are phony intellectuals. And their arguments are easily destroyed. It's so simple. And yet there are so many people like, oh my God, what if Social Security goes away? Oh my God, what if? What if? This is the same thing that happens when communist countries raise a generation of people who don't want to live with communism anymore. And the people who only know communism, they want freedom, they just don't know what it's going to look like, so they cling to communism because that's what they know. You want toilet paper, you get on a line. That's what they know. They know that at the end of that line, there's toilet paper or bread or cheese. And because the system is predicated on the government redistributing whatever meager supply there is, people see a line in a communist country, they go, well, but people are on a line, there must be something at the end of that line. I don't know what the line is for, but I'm getting on it. What are we waiting in line for? I don't know. But there's something there that we probably all need, and if we can acquire it, we might be able to trade it for something else. If you're living in a communist country and you have a pair of shoes, and you don't currently need a pair of shoes, you might need a bag of potatoes or a spool of toilet paper or a bottle of vodka or something. If you can get your hands on shoes, because that line is the line that people are waiting on now, you trade those shoes for the other things because maybe you missed the potato line or the spool of toilet paper line. Somebody who didn't need toilet paper needs shoes, but they got toilet paper. So maybe if you could find somebody who's got toilet paper, you could trade it for a pair of shoes. That's ridiculous. The arguments cannot be broken. You know, I got to tell you something. Some of you might be worried. Is he sticking himself too far out of the limb? He's really offering himself up to be shot down by a liberal. that we call progressive, statist, whatever you want to call these people, a Democrat. I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. I don't care what symposium, what forum, what dais, what TV show, where the debate takes place. I don't care. I simply don't care. Wherever I go to debate this, whether it's on this program or somebody else's, I am 100% right. And it's not because I'm arrogant and simply trying to bolster my cred. It's because I am right. And it's not just me, it's anybody who looks at this clearly. How can you say that we're a nation that's predicated on freedom and individual rights, and yet have the government force us into a retirement program that we don't want? Where are the liberals that believe in liberty? They don't. They don't believe in liberty. The only freedom and liberty that liberals support are sexual freedoms. You want to be gay, be gay. You want to have an abortion, have an abortion. That's the limit. You will not find any liberals that believe in liberty, because if they do, they're really libertarians. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. I have a ton of stuff to get to today. We never slow down on a Friday. We don't coast into the weekend. Again, does anybody believe that there is somebody among the 309 million people that can say, I know exactly what all 309 million people need and want in life, and I'm going to use the government to make sure that they get it? Really? The person who believes they possess limitless intellect is the furthest thing from an intellectual. 1-866-95-PATRIOT, 1-866-95-PATRIOT, 957-2874. Every day, I take a sip from my Capitalism is Boss coffee mug. Every day I wait. Every day I wait for somebody on the left who has the wherewithal to actually debate this stuff, and there isn't one. They only know the box. They only know the box. They're inside the box. That's it. That's the only place they reside. And yet they tell everyone how smart they are. Again, you don't have to pay for it. You can read Allegory of the Cave online. I keep saying this because it is the greatest allegory for what is happening now. How many of you believe that your life can be understood by somebody far away in Washington who's never met you, doesn't know you, and all you are to them is a number or a name on a spreadsheet? To honestly believe that the spreadsheet readers really, they're people that aren't names on spreadsheets. Yeah, you are. That's all you are. They don't know and they don't care. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. I'm going to get some calls next, then we'll get into the articles. But the rule on this program is the phone line is for debate. And anyone who wants to debate goes to the front of the line. I will take the calls that compliment, that agree, that want to add to the discussion. But I am up for debate with anyone, anytime, on any subject. Unlike some people who host talk radio shows, as you might put them in air finger quotes, we don't get the calls who are calling up simply to laugh at me, which, for the host that doesn't realize that's happening, that's twice the embarrassment. Sirius XM Patriot.